Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and this is A-Train 9 version 4. We start with this rather splendid view of the, I guess this is kind of the middle of our city as we have it right now, but the city's a little spread out. If we just do ever such a quick kind of a tour here, we'll do a bit of a fly through. And we're going to use the flight mode that I never really understood before this week, whereby if you use your standard kind of forward and back keys and so forth, you actually follow the mouse cursor, which is really quite cute. So you can change elevation and all sorts as you zip around the place. It's not great for getting around in a hurry, but it really is good for actually kind of flying around your city, and that's ace. So we'll start out by doing that. Anyway, last time around we kicked off timetabling in no short order. In fact, I'm going to have to stop here. I need to show you a little more thoroughly. And one of the things I needed to do was a little rearrangement on the track side of things. So I've made that happen. That's still a work in progress, but we're making progress, and that counts for something, I'm sure. But we've got terrific development going on down at this what will be our most major aspect of the city, where we still seem to be missing a train. Where's he gone? I'm just not back yet. Oh, there we go, pulling in now. So yeah, temporarily I've taken all my goods trains out of service, just because there was the potential for them getting in the way, and I need to rethink quite heavily the kind of lackadaisical fashion in which I have been building so far. So he's heading back, probably got a full load on there. Let's have a quick look. No, train, that's what you want. Yes, 2032, that's the max capacity of that particular train. These two passenger services making me plenty of cash right now, but plenty of cash in this game is very easily spent. So one of the things I wanted to get on with was building the next district. Now, we discussed this area here. It seems to lend itself to the overall design that we're going for. Shall I build at night to make it convenient? No, we'll wait for sun up. So if we get to like 5 AM here, that should give us sunrise. There we go. Right, don't want to go too much past this, simply because the trains set off at 6, and I don't want trains in the way because we'll confuse them. Right, okay, that will do. Yes, one of the things I've been thinking about is actually starting to pay a little more attention to the way that I design these cities districts in the first place. So I'm going to get rid of this track. Now this is going to be expensive, and I have to stop before I get to, let's say $500,000 left in, no, $500 million. Yeah, I can spend about 600 million on this initial part of the project, and you'll see why it's going to cost a heck of a lot pretty quickly. And the reason I want to hold at 500,000-600,000 left in the bank is purely so that I can go play the stock market and get my finances resolved once again. Right, so this is going to be another fairly big station. I think it's going to be a 4-tracker. But before I even get to that, I want to point at this bit of road here. Right, now, I laid this in just moments ago. In fact, I'm going to take it away right now. And my madness will bear fruit, I assure you. Right, so let's set our height level to 0 and flatten what we have here. You're going to, there you guess it, get with the program. Right, okay, so I need to start thinking Japanese, oddly enough, in terms of how we actually build this stuff in the first place, how we build these kind of city districts out, and I want to do it in such a way that ends up looking, well, a bit realistic. That's not going to do any harm, but equally stylish and cool. and hip and other words that are probably not used by today's youth with quite the ferocity that I certainly did as a young'un. By which I mean we're going to pay attention to setting up the land before we start building on it. Now that's, I mean, a no-brainer, but I want to show you a little something I've been working on in my spare time. So we're going to put this bit of road in here. Lay a bit of road in here. Bit of road laid in. And what I'm going to do with this bit of road is I'm going to use this as the kind of the starting point for this this whole area. Now, I might not leave the road in play afterwards, but you will see. No, I need to build a bit more land. A bit more land here, please. Trust me, this is going to work. I thought about just getting on with it while you were elsewhere, but I thought you might approve of the kind of the concepting that goes with it. So let's bosh this up as well. And yeah, and the upshot, if I get this right, should be something that looks pretty good. I say that, you know, with a small amount of confidence. How much have I spent so far? 28 million. As you know, as forecast, this is not a cheap thing to do. Right. You about ready? Yes, you're good. You're good as well. Okay, we'll spend that money. Now, this is not the only place I'm going to do this. We'll be doing this repeatedly. But the upshot should be something that looks kind of nice, theoretically. About there, and then, yeah, that's ideal. Okay, and then we'll wiggle round here. Now, this road in itself, I may keep it, I might not keep it, but it's going to form the bedrock for this this particular building scheme. And it's important that, hold on, it's important that we're following the ley lines appropriately. By which I mean, if we look at the grid on the map, it is kind of critical that we follow that grid. Let's take you just to there for the moment. Whoops-a-daisy. Need a little bit more land building up, as is always the way. Take me to... No, 0 meters is fine. Come on, come on, come on. Up you come. There we go. Just drag that along. I'm going to remove quite a bit of it again in a minute, but it's important to have the right amount of land to begin with. Okay, good. Yes, road. Thank you. You all the way up. No, you all the way up here. Right, this will do for the moment. No, go to that and then do it like that. Could I get a right angle? Any chance of a right angle? There we go. Right, that'll do. And then what I want is I'm going to turn this into one big waterside kind of district. And I want my buildings to go flush up against the water's edge. Which is obviously going to... There we go, that'll do it. Right, there we go. So, looks a little bit like that. Right, nothing remarkable about that particular shape. It's not supposed to represent anything. But here's the fun bit. Is now playing with this this chap over here. We're going to set the height to 20 meters below sea level, and then by doing this, it will cut right up to the edge of, but not underneath the road. So the roads will provide a hard edge. So we can see if we zoom in. They provide a hard edge for this this kind of terrain cutaway that I'm doing here, which means that effectively these you go too far and you muck it all up. I'll come back and fix that in a moment. I hope I'll come back and fix that in a moment. I could undo all of this anyway, in case that doesn't take. In fact, let's commit this one to the grave. In fact, let's try the repair job and see if that helps. Because chances are I've cut away underneath the road, which is not what I want. As much as the road is quite happy to just sit, you know, majestically hovering above the waterline, That's not conducive to the kind of layout that I'm after. And in this case, what we're using the road for is effectively just a straight edge, right? We don't need the road there when we're done. This is purely, and to be honest, the only reason I cocked it up was because I was rushing. Yeah, we're basically just using the roads as a straight edge. Let's decrease that one more. And yet, well, the upshot is it looks glorious. Now, what I hear from you, without really paying attention, but it's incredibly obvious because I thought exactly the same thing, was, oh, why don't you do it on the diagonal and create some nice or curves? Would that work as well? And I got some bad news. No, it doesn't work, and I'll show you what it does do in a moment. And it's a real disappointment that it doesn't work, because you could create some magnificent looking harbour sides and so forth with this obviously man-made kind of island approach. There we go. I've done most of that one now. What's going on with this edge? There you go. Right, get rid of that as well. Now, obviously, you can go deeper than that. If you're planning to run a port in this area, then you can go much deeper. I believe that that container ships require a depth of 40 meters, if not more. But the idea is that I'm going to build a segment out here that is kind of interlocking, obviously man-made islands with kind of canal work in between and so forth and all that kind of jazz. But let's just, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. We can obviously do a bit more on that in a minute. But let's show you what happens when you try and do the same thing on the diagonal, because it's so disappointing, because you could have come up with something glorious. Right, so we stick a diagonal road in, thus. We get our geo tool out, and obviously I'm not going to accept this because it's going to look rotten. And then we do exactly the same thing. Hold everything. It's working now. Oh, hey. No, that looks great. Oh, all right. Stop the press. That looks fabulous. Cancel. Okay. Interesting. Must have been. Maybe if I do a road. Huh. Oh, well, that's come as a surprise. And a pleasant one at that. Right. Diagonals do it. Okay, cool. Let's lay something a little different. There you go. Let's try that one. Right. So that one, this one was it's a straight diagonal kind of bisect of the roads that we've got going on already. But this one is not, and I think this one will probably do what I was expecting to prove. There you go. Look at that. Look at that ugly, jagged mess. So that's what you get if you're not paying attention to the grid properly. So, well, hey, but, oh, hell, I just accepted that. Well, what a waste of money. Still, waste of money. That's something unusual, isn't it? I almost never do that. Right, you, back. Come on, get back in line. I might have to get rid of that. No, the road's fine. Okay, so, yes, there we go. Important, well, take it as important as you like. But if you want to do that, which I think the end result looks pretty snazzy, and then, if you're going for a kind of a man-made island approach, that looks pretty dandy. And I can't claim this idea for myself. They've done a little bit of it in one of the cities that comes with one of the pre-built maps, let's say, that comes with the game overall. And I thought, hey, that looks pretty nifty. I'll see if I can do something similar. Lo and behold, I've done something similar. But the next step is to actually, decorate this out in a conducive fashion to something a little bit more splendid. And I'll get working on that in a mo. But first things first, I want to get my... do we fancy doing an elevated station? I think we do. I think... is an elevated station really sensible in this area, do we think? We're going to be going like that. Why are you unhappy to be... Oh, you're not unhappy to be elevated. Ah, we've got some ground issues going on there. I'll just fix those up first. There we go. Quick smoothing. And thank you, whoever it was... Sputnik 1 suggested that holding down control while using the geoscapey tools will just apply it straight to that level. Instead of just kind of rippling it up to the level you've selected, it'll take it straight there. Right. Okay, back to stations, please. Stations, thank you. Marvellous. Right. What do we need? 4 platforms. Makes it more expensive. Length of platforms. What do we think? On this route, long-ish, I reckon we'll cover it. And the reason for going with this elevated approach is entirely stylistic in nature. Have I got room to elevate that track? Yes, I probably have. Okay, alright, well we'll do that then. Right, let's stick you right in the center here, and then we'll try and make all the local... No, Oh yeah, we'll try and make all the local roads work in harmony with that. Yes? Sold? Not quite sold. I want to get reasonable coverage on it, but again, this is a case of form over function, to a degree. Where else could we go here? We can also lead off that way. Okay, right. In that case, I can see what needs to be done. Let's just commit. And done. 180 million down the tubes in a heartbeat, and then we'll run some road underneath, and then I'll show you something else exciting with the kind of quayside development that I am pondering here. There you go. 2. Should we go 3? What the heck? Hey, look. You know, me being able to thread anything under a bridge is a novelty, so I'm going to go all 3. Okay, cool. Have you really thought that through? Give me a look at just a standard apartment building. Oh, loads of room. Oh, you can build 8 of those in there. Right, okay, fabulous. Okay. Now, the hope is, now you see that all these bits of road, they leave this kind of grey, tarmac-esque, obviously developed kind of segmentation underneath it. That's the look that I want. That's what I want it to appear like. Ideally, we'd get rid of all of this grass and replace it with some, some good, solid tarmac, because that will look magnificent. Right. Here's the point at which we find out whether I've just wasted a heck of a lot of money. I'm optimistic I won't have. This is where I miss city skylines, right? Because in skylines, you decide, oh no, I didn't really want that bit of track there. You'll go, hey, my friend, have a bit of a refund. You kind of go, well, that's jolly civilized of you. Okay, right, let's pull that out a bit. How are we going to get these to transfer? Maybe we don't. Do we need them to transfer? Well, there's an argument to be made either way, but let's see what connection options we've got here. There we go. How does that look? Nope. Do the plummet in without paying for it bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. In fact, I think we could probably have the ramp a little further along and it would still look good. Well, it would look better, arguably, because you'd have something that resembled an actual bridge where people were nervous about tides and waves and that kind of stuff. Nope, that's going to work. All right, that corner's going to work, and I think that's the important bit. All right, so this is our angle. Come on, you were doing it just now. Oh, it helps, of course, if I point out the track. Right. Of course, it's not going to play ball if I just... Is there a way I can do this by eye? That looks good to me. What do you think? How much is it going to cost me? $500,000. Okay. Oh, we're off by a small amount. All right, no. Let's do this the other way. Let's take you up one. There we go. Up. No. That's but getting it to auto incline is a pain in the backside. You have to build the way you have to do it is, and I can't. Can I snap to? Oh, I am snapped a little to grid here, but not in any kind of a useful way. How am I going to do this? How's this going to work? Do I build it and then delete some of it? Maybe. Let's fix that. And then what? Remove. No, let's remove the ramp down. There we go. Okay, we've got the line. Steady, steady. I want it to stay up. No, up. There we go. Like that. Stay up. And then we're going to carefully judge the appropriate time to come back down again. Alright, okay. Alright, this might work. No. Yes. Okay, so we can go a little further and still have room, I think. That'll be enough, right? Got to be enough. Got to be enough. Let's go as far as here. He slopes, he scores. Right, okay, good. And the end result looks pretty fair, I think. If I put a bit more planning into it, I'd have the actual ramp back down to ground level over on the land. But I'm going to work with this legacy stuff that I've got going on. Right, we'll use exactly the same process here and see if it wants to. No, of course it doesn't. But we will use the same process because it worked. Yeah, it has to be there, doesn't it? Alright, and hopefully this is going to play ball in the same way that the other side did. No, you've gone for building something else there. Where are we? And what I'll do is I'll build each section in such a way that it mirrors the metalwork of the bridge as well, if I can. Go on, one more. Really? You can't do just one more without making an enormous fuss. All right, well, stuff you then. We'll go from there. And we'll go up to here, and then we'll see if that'll play ball. Ball is played. Now, those two aren't complete. They are. There. Ooh. No, they're not. They're off ever so slightly, but I'm happy enough with that. Perfection can wait for a second attempt. We will go close to for the moment. Right, good. Okay, that's that. Oh, this is going really well. This is exactly what I was after. Yeah, you do a corner there, and then we'll... how do you want to do this? Let's do that like a right angle kind of a thing here. Okay, and then I'll show you what I was thinking of along the water side here. Now, obviously, you don't want people hanging about underneath your rail bridge. That's, that's something that we modern folk are less keen on. So under the items menu, you can build stuff that doesn't bring much to the party in terms of functionality, but what you can do is build these nice fences. Good fences make good neighbours, apparently. There we go. And the best thing about these is they will actually snap to one another. So we can fence a bit off. And obviously this is then nicely in keeping with our overall kind of man-made aesthetic that we've got going on in this section. Yeah, bit more there. So yes, so I think this is kind of, this playthrough started out as I'm going to make a city with a heck of a lot of trains in it, and I thought, well, what's the reason you're doing a heck of a lot of trains? And I'm going, well, it'll look good. You're going to go, well, if it's going to look good with just the trains, let's make it look good with something else as well. So I'm going to pay a little more attention. I can't say for a moment that I'm going to be, starting to get carried away with millimeters of measuring. No, it said that snapped, and then I twitched to place rather than. That's what I should have done. There we go. And go on, click. Oh, it's a delicate snap. if it is a snap at all. And there we go, and here we go, and we end up with something a little like that, right? Which, you know, it's the sort of thing you'll overlook quite easily. But, you know, with a suitable building of some kind in there, I think that will look rather good. So there you go. So that's kind of a design aesthetic that I'm going to start bringing to this party in short order. In fact, I'm very pleased with that. And I think with the right building mix on there, and I'll probably dedicate this to being what do we think? Some kind of high-risey kind of... It's a Japanese rail sim. Of course it's going to be high-risey. I don't think there's a chance this is going to work. Nope. We're going to have to delete a bit more of that track and change the nature of that curve. And I'll do this while you're elsewhere. Take a breather, take some time, chew over the kind of the Bob Ross-esque approach to train mismanagement that this series has taken. Hey man, you can't do anything wrong. This is your way. We'll just give this a dab of track removal and everything will be great. Hey, what if I were to do a little curve round there? Wow, that's really nice. Anyway, that's quite enough of that. Thank you very much for watching today. I've been Colonel Failure. Hopefully this has been interesting, despite the fact there's not been an awful lot of motion going on. You're not going to like that with that road there. Oh, you are? Okay. Well, that's jolly decent of you. Anyway, next time, probably more of the same, I would imagine. We'll try and get some stuff rolling. In fact, next time around, we will develop... Hello there. Let's suggest that you go at the same time. Yeah, we'll do some more. We'll finish off the development on this area. I'll break off its ties with the land overall. In fact, that might make this bridge a little premature. Premature bridge. Let's dump that. We'll wait until we've finished severing the connections entirely, and then we'll connect it back up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please chuck us a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will be back very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.
This